row. That dude's a bad MFer, McVay said of Stafford. Whatever people say about him, as good as it can be, he's even better than advertised. It makes sense to him. The guy's ability to see the game, his ability to draw on his experiences, the feel that he has, it's pretty special and unique. We know the Rams are excited about 2021, but Stephen A., who is the favorite to win the NFC West?
The NFC West, I think it should be Seattle, personally. They got Russell Wilson, and that's really what it comes down to. They still got Russell Wilson. They got DK Metcalf. They got Tyler. They got Lockett. I mean, and they've got a running game, and I don't suspect that their defense will be as bad as it used to be. When I think about the NFC West, I always think about Russell Wilson first. If Russell Wilson wasn't there, then there would be a different ball game because the Rams' defense is elite. Make no mistake about it. And Stafford's a stud. He hasn't shown what he can do in the postseason because we haven't seen much of him in that regard. So he's got a lot to prove, and I understand that. But all he's got to do is be a little better than Jared Goff, which shouldn't be hard. And I understand that. But in the end, I still say Russell Wilson is special. And as long as he's there, you've got to give him the nod.
I like the Rams as the best team in the NFC West, and this is a very competitive division. It's the best division in football on paper. Look, I don't know if I believe everything McVay is saying about Matt Stafford. It's his new guy. They traded a ton to get him. Jared Goff, who was the #1 overall pick, with whom they had been to a Super Bowl and a 2-time Pro Bowler. Plus, what was it, 2 firsts and a 4th on top of that? I mean, it's a crazy amount to give up for Stafford. But in Matthew Stafford, you have a guy whose arm talent, the talk for the first 5-6 years was top 5 arm talent in the NFL. He has elite talent, it seems, but he couldn't win, right? Well, why couldn't he win? Because of Detroit. This is a legacy-defining move for not only the Rams, but for Stafford. Because if he falls on his face, if the Rams come up short, he just wasn't a winner. But if they win, we get it. He really was elite. It was just, dressed up wrong. He was on a losing team. Stephen A., you know who Matt Stafford is? Maybe, we'll see, the Damian Lillard of the NFL. You know who has the most fourth-quarter comebacks in the NFL since he came in the league? It's Matt Stafford. He's the comeback kid. Why does he have to constantly come back? It's not because his play, has subpar play. The team around him wasn't good enough. And now he's going to a team with a real good offensive line, with defensive playmakers, with offensive weapons, and with an inventive head coach who's already been to a Super Bowl and who's singing his praises, saying even better than we thought he'd be. I like the Los Angeles Rams in the toughest division in football.
Max Kellerman, don't you ever in this lifetime mention Damian Lillard in the same breath as Matthew Stafford. And I understand what you're talking about in terms of his late game comebacks. But Damian Lillard has done his stuff in the postseason, not just the regular season. Remember when he waved goodbye to Russell Westbrook, Paul George, and OKC? I'm just saying Matthew Stafford hasn't done that in the postseason. That's all I'm saying.
But he hasn't been on good teams.
All right, then, but he is the star quarterback, Max Kellerman, and they've been to the playoffs 3 times. He's never won a playoff game in his career. I'm not saying that's his fault. I'm just saying that he don't have those moments to lean on like Damian Lillard. We saw Damian Lillard do it in the regular season and the postseason.
That's why
we haven't seen that from Matthew Stafford in the postseason. I just tell you, don't mention him in the same breath as Damian Lillard. He hasn't done it in the postseason. He's 0-3. He's never won a playoff game ever.
Right.
The Detroit Lions haven't won a playoff game. I'm looking at the numbers here, Max. They haven't won a playoff game since 1991.
Yeah,
that's 30 years.
And before that, it was
30
years. It's like one playoff win in 60 years. It's crazy. It's crazy in Detroit.
And it's horrible.
It's crazy.
It's horrible. And I mean, and it's not Matthew Stafford's fault. I mean, he's got a 74-90-1 record. He's 16 games under 500. That's not his fault. He's completed 62% of his passes. That ain't great. That ain't his fault. We know what a stud Matthew Stafford is, and we expect more from him. But the bottom line is, despite the stud that he was, we have zero evidence of what he can do in the postseason.
That's why this season is so important to the Rams and to Stafford, because they have the kind of team that can get to the Super Bowl if he plays well. We will find out about him. But in the regular season, he has the most fourth-quarter comebacks.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.